The Saints' disappointing offseason means another disappointing season. This is from CBS Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, I had to check myself because I wasn't sure if this was from 2 years ago or a year ago. This video is from 2 days ago. Okay, this is their post-draft report. Don't look at me like that, Pete. These young men apparently really didn't like the Saints draft or like the Saints offseason. So let's listen to them, again, CBS Sports, and try and see why they think the Saints will have such a bad season. I'm a little befuddled because this is coming on the heels of me putting out a video yesterday with Colin Cowherd saying the Saints are going to be last in the NFC South. So I guess it's Saints hate week. I don't know. But let's listen to these fellas right here.
The New Orleans Saints actually plummeted from 16 to 27. 27 is actually about right for the Saints. You know why? Because the Saints stink. The Saints, I'm sorry, and I know that people accuse me of being a Derek Carr hater or a Carr family hater, whatever you want to call it. The Saints are boring. I don't know what the Saints do that well. They're not that exciting. They have some good players. Chris Olave, awesome. Cameron Jordan, awesome. But frankly, Pete, I don't think there's a lot to love here with the Saints, and I don't think you like the Saints very much either based on your rating.
Okay, so I guess Pete has the Saints at 27, which is really low. Will Brinson mentioned their awesome players of Chris Olave and Cam Jordan, who I don't think anybody who actually watches the Saints would say Cam Jordan was awesome last year. But let's take a look before I let these guys finish. I have some things pulled up here. So this is DVOA. Everyone knows DVOA, one of my favorite analytics. DVOA ranks basically your offense and defense through their algorithm to show you a true sense of what you are good at doing. So instead of doing like passing yards allowed or rushing yards allowed or stats like that can be kind of weird and kind of wonky, this is a much better way of doing it. DVOA is an amazing thing to use throughout the season. All right, so let's look at the Saints, right? So the Saints last year, their offense was DVOA ranked 17th. All right, so right around average, to be expected. Their defense, 15th. Right around average, to be expected. If you look at other teams, right? So the Falcons, everyone's saying the Falcons are going to be amazing, right? Last year, 24th offense, 24th defense. Kirk Cousins, good luck fixing that 24th ranked defense. What about Carolina? We heard Colin Cowherd last in the video yesterday say that Carolina was going to surge this year. They were 31st in offense, 25th in defense. Not great. What about... let's see, the Houston Texans. Everyone loves the Houston Texans, right? The Houston Texans were amazing last year. How sweet were the Houston Texans? A lot of people think they may win the Super Bowl this year, playoff team last year. They were awesome. Well, they were 10-7. They won one more game than the Saints. They were the 14th ranked offense and the 16th ranked defense. So the Saints, who Will just said are boring, not sure what they do well, don't like them, not going anywhere, I guarantee you he's very high on the Texans. And actually, now that I think about it, let's go see if we can find Pete Prisco's power ranking and see where he's got some of these other teams. Well, nailed that one. So this is Pete Prisco's power rankings. He has the Texans 8th overall. He's got the Bengals 7th overall, Packers 6th overall. You can see the rest, obviously. He's got the Saints down here at 27. He's got the Falcons at 20. All right, so now some teams, when you look at this, like the Bears are totally different this year. So looking at their DVOA last year isn't going to translate as much. Now a team like the Rams, a team like Houston, virtually the same, right? Pretty much the same cast of characters are going to be in there. So Pete Prisco thinks the Texans are going to be the 8th best team in the NFL. The Packers are going to be the 6th best team in the NFL. All right, the Packers were the 27th ranked defense last year, 6th ranked offense, good. And then, like I said, Houston 14-16, not too far off from the Saints. So I just don't understand why he has dropped the Saints so far. Now, let's get to the season win totals. Show y'all something else. So the season win totals are from Vegas. This is the consensus. This is from Vegas Insiders. This kind of shows you what we are expected to do from Vegas. So the Saints are expected to win 7.5 games, which I think probably right. I think the Saints are somewhere between a 7-win or an 8-win and 10-win team. That's where I would put them, somewhere in there. And look at the teams they're around. The Rams, 8.5. Jaguars, 8.5. Chargers, 8.5. Bucks, 7.5. Falcons, 9.5. A little high, I think. Seahawks, 7.5. You know, these teams, these are the middle of the road teams. I think everyone can agree Texans 9.5. So in between that 8 and 10 win range, that is probably where the Saints should be. That is probably where the Rams should be, probably where the Chargers should be, probably where the Colts and the Falcons and the Texans and the Seahawks is probably where they should be. What this is not is the 27th worst team in the NFL. What this is not is because 27, quick maths, if you're the 27th team in the NFL, you're a bottom 5 team. You are a bottom 5. Let's look at the bottom 5 on for the win totals. You're talking about the Panthers, who are absolutely terrible. The Patriots, who are absolutely terrible. The Broncos, who are absolutely terrible. The Commanders, who are absolutely terrible. The Cardinals, the Giants, the Titans. Like, these are legit bad teams, right? So to be lumped in with them, I think is crazy. Let's go ahead and continue with CBS.
Ranking of 27.
Well, they are going to have a new offense, a new system, so I think that's something to be excited about because I thought they got a little stale. I mean, you know, Clint Kubiak's going to be the offensive coordinator. I think he'll bring in that system and help liven things up a little bit. But the offensive line's been a problem for a while.
Good news. They addressed it. Also, about them getting stale, agreed. I would say they were getting stale. Good news. We completely overhauled the offensive staff. Took out every single offensive coach we had, said, see you later. So I would hope that fixes the offense getting stale. And even if you go to last year when the offense was stale, commenters help me out here, put some stats in the comments below. In our last 5 or 6 games, the offense kind of changed, kind of got better, kind of got not stale. We threw it in the toaster oven, crisped it up a little bit. Not stale at all. Beginning of the season, no doubt, stale. Beginning of the season, someone left the bag of pretzels open. They were disgusting, okay? We got it fixed. We got it turned around a little bit. The end of the season was completely different than the beginning of the season. Offensive line, problematic? Yeah, it was problematic. Good thing we just drafted Talise Fuaga. Boom. So we're getting there, all right? The core team is there. The core team that went 9-8 last year, the core team that was whatever the DVOA rankings we showed, 15th offense or 17th offense, 15th defense, that's still there. If anything, you would say the Saints have improved this offseason. If anything, you would say they've had a good offseason. Let's really look at what we've done, ladies and gentlemen. We have problematic players, whatever you think about Michael Thomas or whatever, but distractions, whatever. I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong. He's gone, right? We got a new offensive lineman come in, a new stud secondary member coming in Kool-Aid McKinstry. We have our actual core players either healthy or not suspended, something we didn't have last year. So last year, Kamara missed the first couple of games. He's not going to do that this year. Derek Carr was not healthy in multiple spells last year. We would assume he's going to enter the season healthy this year. We have all of those players with another year under their belts of learning each other and understanding who each other are and the communication issues we saw earlier in the year. We would assume those are gone. Pete Carmichael to Clint Kubiak is one of the biggest upgrades possible, just because I'm assuming Clint Carmichael can figure out his way how to get in the stadium and how to plug his microphone in, which automatically makes him better than Pete Carmichael. Our young players like Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, they were allowed another year to develop. Even at the back end, people like Paulson Adebo and Alante Taylor. We had no pass rush last year. This year, we get Chase Young. We'll see what he can do. He's a young player that should have an impact. Where's the negative? Where is the disappointing offseason? That's the part that I don't get. If you want to say the Saints are average, okay, I'm totally cool with that. I would say the Saints are coming into the season. I would say they're right in the middle of the pack of the NFL, like we just showed with the win totals. I would say the Saints are average. If you said I think the Saints are going to be a 7 to 10 win or somewhere in there, yeah, okay. If you're going to say the Saints are going to be in a dogfight to win the division, or they're going to be competing neck and neck with Tampa and Atlanta to see who can scrape together 9 or 10 wins to win that division, much like last year, I would say, yeah, that sounds about right. What I don't think sounds about right is, one, the Saints have gotten worse. I think in every single facet, they've gotten better. And you can't say that the Saints are one of the 5 worst teams in the NFL. When you look at every underlying metric, you can see that's just not true. And there's no underlying metric that would show that any of the numbers that we saw last year would take a step backwards. If anything, everything should take a step forward.
Addressed it in the draft. You know, they got a left tackle in the draft. I think that'll help them in a big way. But now your right tackle is talking about retiring. He's got some injury issues.
All right, listen. I can't believe we're doing this back-to-back. I really cannot believe this is happening. We didn't get a left tackle in the draft. Talise Fuaga is a right tackle. Talise Fuaga played right tackle at Oregon State. That's the whole reason we got him, is because Ryan Ramczyk, what Pete Prisco is slobbering all over himself talking about, that's the whole reason we got Talise Fuaga. Look, I'm going to say the same thing I said 24 hours ago. I don't think these guys are watching the games. I don't think these guys knows what's going on. I think Pete's asleep at the wheel. I mean, what's going on here? Am I in some kind of a Shutter Island type situation where I'm in Inception, and it's just we have analysts on the TV on all these major networks. I mean, see, like CBS Sports. Listen, I don't want to view shame anybody, but this has 350 views from 2 days ago. The reason your numbers are garbage is because you're putting stuff like this out there. All right. 350 views 2 days ago. I feel bad for the 350 people, 351 now including me, who had to sit here and listen to this. We're 56 seconds in, and I've got Pete Prisco telling me that the Saints drafted a left tackle. Newsflash, we drafted a right tackle. I mean, does he not know who Talise Fuaga is?
As well, Ramczyk at right tackle. And then the concern I have, usually you see a team that has a lot of age starting to creep in on defense, and there's younger guys ready to step in some spots, but I'm starting to worry about the age. You know, Cam Jordan's not a kid anymore. Demario Davis isn't a kid anymore. Honey Badger isn't a kid anymore. So you're starting to see age creep in on that defense. So I think it's just a weird transition period. And we know, look, there's a lot of pressure on Dennis Allen this year. He's got to win. No doubt. I mean, he changed.
So the age on defense, interesting, because I would say that some of the spots where we do have age, we brought in younger players. I mentioned Chase Young. We drafted Brian Brzee last year. We have Kool-Aid McKinstry coming in the secondary. We have Alontae Taylor. We have Paulson Adebo. Marshawn Lattimore is still young, still in his prime. Where, like Pete Werner, I don't understand where Demario Davis is older, sure, but Demario Davis is one of the 5 best linebackers in the NFL last year. So are we one of the older teams in the NFL? Yeah, we are. But unless every single player over the age of 30 on our team just completely falls off and completely crashes, I'm not sure if that's really going to impact the team so badly that they're going to shift to 27th. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, even that reasoning right there, it doesn't really hold up. And Dennis Allen is under a lot of pressure, sure. But Dennis Allen, I believe, is freed up to focus more on the defense. We did the analytics last year where Dennis Allen defensively is the number one best defensive play caller in the NFL for all of last season. All right. Patent Analytics. If you're not following him on Twitter, go follow him. Put out his report. Dennis Allen, number one. So we know Dennis Allen can do what he does on defense. Now he's freed up, we would think, because Pete Carmichael, who didn't have his microphone plugged in, we now have Clint Kubiak. He's going to take over the offense and change the offense and take full control over that. So if he takes full control over that, that should be a boost in the offense and a boost in the defense, because it lets Dennis Allen do what he's supposed to be doing.
Change coordinator, so they're not changing the coordinator next. It's going to probably change the head coach. So a lot of pressure on him as well. So I think you look at this division, I think the Bucs are better. I think the Falcons are better. The Panthers are not better. So they're probably the third team in the division as we sit here right now.
Well, Pete, it seems like you're not very high on Dennis Allen's current team, and I don't think you're very high on Dennis Allen's former team, the Las Vegas Raiders.
So is that it? Yeah, now they're shifting to the Raiders.
At 19th, you have now dropped him. Okay,
so he's got the Raiders as better than the Saints. He has the Raiders at 24. So let's look at the DVOA for the Raiders. So the Raiders last year were 27th in offense, 8th in defense. I guess he thinks Gardner Minshew is going to boost them up from 27th up. I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it really doesn't. Like a lot of these, like what these guys are saying, and I mean, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. They're in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. They were 8-9 last year. Antonio Pierce is a terrible head coach. You heard it here first. Why would I think the Raiders are going to make a jump? Why would I think the Raiders are going to make such a drastic jump and the Saints are going to make such a drastic fall? And the Jaguars, where's the Jaguars? The Jaguars are 12th. Like, listen to this. Listen to how ridiculous this analysis is. The Jaguars flopped midway through the season because they weren't ready to handle the challenge. What the hell are you talking about? They weren't ready to handle the challenge? What challenge? What does that mean? Buccaneers re-signing Baker Mayfield and others gives them a chance to run it back as division champs. Okay, that sentence doesn't mean anything. This is a team with a nice mix of young and old. What? They were 20th in offense last year and 14th in defense. Why are they that much better than the Saints? I mean, if you look at this, guys, the Falcons, again, 24th in offense, 24th in defense. Will Cousins make the offense better? Sure. How much better? Let's say he moves them up 10 spots. Let's say they're 14th. That'd be a huge jump, right? If you move up 10 spots. If they're 14th, congratulations. They're right there with the Saints. Is Kirk Cousins going to play outside linebacker? Is he going to make the 24 rank on defense better? The whole point, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what this shows. They're all the same. They're right there. Falcons right there. Bucks right there. Saints right there. This weird trend of just saying, yeah, the Saints are going to be awful with absolutely nothing backing it up. I honestly, guys, I really don't usually say this. I do not like to get out in front of stuff like this and just let it rip. But I honestly don't know how these guys have jobs anymore. I really don't. With how many, and I'm not just talking about myself, but with all the good content creators out there, with all the good information out there, with all the good videos, and with all the good reports, and I mean, like we said, people from whether it's Pro Football Focus or Madden Analytics or Sumer Sport, some of the guys I reference all the time, DVOA, like you can find like really strong information out there. Even if you use Vegas, even if you use Vegas Insider or VSiN or any of those groups, pregame.com, and you look at like what Vegas thinks and what the market thinks, like it's crazy that this video right here has the headline, "The Saints' disappointing offseason means another disappointing season." The disappointing offseason of completely overhauling the offensive staff, bringing in an offensive lineman, and being one of 4 teams that Pro Football Focus gave an A+ in the draft. That's the awful offseason. That is the horrendous offseason. Fixing the offensive play calling, fixing the offensive line, bringing in young players, and getting an A+ in the draft. That disappointing offseason has forced Pete to drop the Saints 11 spots to 27. It's crazy. I mean, it really is some shocking stuff going on out there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to keep being the Hawk. I'm going to keep being the Batman. I'm going to keep my eyes open, ears open. I'm going to keep my finger on the pulse and see, when I see these people out there lazily flapping their gums and slobbering all over themselves, I'm going to be the one. I'm not letting anybody get a free pass. I'm going to tell you that right now. No free passes, none of that. We are finger on the pulse. We're eyes wide open. I'm not sleeping tonight like Batman. I'm hanging upside down. All right, I'm hanging upside down. Just like this, like this right here, just hanging upside down, ready, ladies and gentlemen, for anybody who wants to flap their guns, just like this, boom, ready to pounce. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.